Company's revenue, Google, is the sum of its various activities, whereas its net income or net profit is the amount it actually keeps after subtracting the various expenses involved in achieving the bottom line or earnings. Today we will cover four margins. Three will be found in the income statement, and the fourth will be a surprise. Throughout this journey, we will use Microsoft's financials as real-life example, but these translate across most companies. First, gross profit margin, which is located here on the income statement. Second, we have operating profit margin, which we will find here. Third, we have net profit margin, net income or earnings, lots of different terms for this one, we will find here. Diving into how to calculate these margins or ratios. First up, gross profit margins. The formula for gross profit margins is gross profits divided by revenues. This tells us how profitable the company's core products are as we subtract costs and labor to make the product or service from revenue to arrive at gross margins. Gross margins can also give us insight into potential moat and pricing power, very underrated. Using Microsoft's numbers, we have 171 billion divided by 245 billion, giving us a gross margin of 69.7%. Next, we have operating profit margins. The formula for operating profit margin is operating profits divided by revenue. The operating profit margin tells us how profitable a company's operations are, including core costs and operating expenses such as R&D, marketing, and administrative. Microsoft's operating margin equals 109 billion divided by 245 billion, giving us 44.4%. Third, we have net profit margin or net income margin. We calculate it by dividing net profit by revenue. Net profit margin tells us how profitable overall the company is, from revenue generated to all the costs associated with running the business. Wall Street loves earnings. The surprise margin is free cash flow margin. The formula for free cash flow margin is free cash flow divided by revenue. First, we determine the free cash flow by using two items on the cash flow statement listed to the right: operating cash flow and CapEx, or property, plant, and equipment, or in this case, additions to property and equipment. Next, we subtract our two numbers, 118.5 billion from 44.4 billion, giving us free cash flow of 74.1 billion. Finally, we divide the 74.1 billion by 245 billion in revenue for a free cash flow margin of 30.2%. So after all the calculations, what are good ranges to look for when analyzing companies? Look for gross margins of greater than 40%, operating margins greater than 20%, net income margins of greater than 20%, and free cash flow margins greater than 15%. Some other good practices to utilize when analyzing company margins. 1. Compare margins over time. 1, 3, 5, and 10-year periods work best. Compare your company to others in the same industry. Compare to company historicals. How have they done in the past? Compare trends. Which way is the company heading? That will wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed our little video, please give us a like. It helps us on YouTube.